People love me or hate me.
We're all slightly abnormal. We're all slightly nuts. Am I the only normal person around here? I'll get the usual flurry of death threats. I'll get the usual abuse and everything else that would break anybody.
Piers Morgan, a man known for his bold opinions and controversial views. He's constantly bombarded with harsh criticism, and yet he has a way to stay calm, composed, and unshakable under fire, which is why I decided to study him for today's video. There is so much we can learn from this man on how he's dealing with criticism. Let's start with his view on having enemies.
But, that's part of being in the opinion business. If you don't want to be loved and hated, then you don't express opinions about anything. And that way, to me, madness lies. I'd much rather be, it's like the old, again, Churchill. He said that if you've got enemies, it means that at some stage in your life, you stood up for something that you believe in. Good. That's good.
My favorite part is if you don't want to be loved or hated, then you don't have an opinion about anything. That is so true. You can't please the whole world. Some people will like you and some people won't, and that's okay. Here's why.
Whether you love me or hate me, I do have a kind of brutal honesty about what I've set out to achieve, what I have achieved, what I failed at. I don't try and sugarcoat things, nor do I try and pretend I'm something I'm not. You don't have to like me to respect the fact, I think, that I speak my mind. I give honest opinions about stuff. They're not always opinions people agree with, but I want them to be. I don't want people to agree with me necessarily. I want to stimulate debate and to hopefully get to some kind of truth, which is the most important thing in a world where truth is so difficult to find.
Just a quick hello and welcome if you're new here. My name is Rachel and I make videos every week about being more confident and charismatic. So if you could hit that like and the subscribe if you want to, I'd really appreciate that. Next, you'll see Piers Morgan in the Late Late Show talking about why disagreeing is actually a good thing.
Core of common sense, he called it. And I think I'm the same. People say to me, oh, you're so controversial. I'm like, well, which of my opinions is actually that controversial?
So you think you're the voice of common sense?
I don't think my opinions are that controversial. I think that actually they're the opinions of the majority. When I was coming here today, the number of people who came up to me at the airport were like, Piers, we're right behind you. Keep talking the common sense. That's why I called my show Uncensored. No. And you should all be able to disagree with each other. You and I should be able to go to the pub, have a few pints of the black stuff, argue about everything, and then stay friends. Funny enough, Emily and I are like that. We have terrible dinner parties where we end up shouting at each other, and then we can't wait to do it again. That's how society should be.
That is so funny. We shout at each other and then we can't wait to do it again. Isn't it so true though that we're often so afraid to share our own opinions? I mean, speaking for myself, I used to not share my own thoughts or opinions, afraid of being judged, afraid of being criticized. But what Piers Morgan is saying is that his views are not controversial, but common sense, and that people should be able to share their different opinions in public. Having said that, though, he is receiving death threats. He is receiving a lot of harsh criticism. And it's something that he discusses in his interview with Jordan Peterson, which you'll see in one moment. But first, I found this clip where Stephen Bartlett is asking him the question if he's nervous. And here's his answer.
I don't get nervous. I don't get anxious. I'm very self-confident. I think I'm pretty self-aware, which I think is really important. I'm very aware of who I am, what I am, how I operate. I'm also aware over time that things that seem terrible in the moment very rarely are. Everything is survivable apart from death.
Now you'll see the next clips where he's giving brilliant advice in his interview with Jordan Peterson. Advice on how to deal with criticism, how to stay calm and confident. Well, how he is doing it.
Are your best friends people that you laugh at or with, or people who laugh at you?
Yeah.
In other words, have you got the ability to laugh at yourself as much as others? I look at my friends and I think, actually most of my best friends, if they didn't have the ability to laugh at themselves, I couldn't really be friends with them.
Right, of course.
And if they couldn't let me mock them in a way that I'm quite happy to be mocked myself, which I am, I'm not sure I could be a friend of someone like that, because I think it's such a key component to surviving life. There was a great scene in Fawlty Towers, one of the great comedy series of all time. Only 12 episodes ever got made with John Cleese. There's a great scene where he's got this cast of completely ridiculous characters in the hotel from hell, and they're all bonkers. And at one stage, Cleese, his character Basil Fawlty, is the most bonkers of all. And he's standing in the middle of them. He goes, "My God," he said, "am I the only normal person around here?" And it always makes me laugh out loud, because actually none of us are normal. The beauty of being a human being is we're all slightly abnormal. We're all slightly nuts. You've got to have a pretty thick skin. Again, it's one of the things I like about Trump, is he not only has the thinnest skin of any human being I've met, he also has the thickest. So he reacts to absolutely everything by going to DEFCON 3, but he can soak up even more extreme DEFCONs in a way I've never seen any public figure do. That would break anybody. And he just barrels on through. And actually, that's part of existing in life and making the most of it. You know, you've got to it's not good just to survive in life. You've got to thrive.
You're going to pay a price for whatever you say.
Yeah.
And so that's also you being expressed. And so the consequences of your speech are, I think the consequences of your truthful speech are indistinguishable from your destiny. And I think your destiny is an adventure.
Yeah, and people say to me, what's there was a guy started here doing television for the first time. He's a journalist, print journalist. And he asked me for advice. I said, well, I got one bit of advice. Be authentic. Be you. Don't try and be me. Don't try and be somebody else. Don't try and be someone you've seen on TV. Be yourself.
Be yourself. Be authentic, no matter what. It's something that you'll see coming back on all the charismatic figures that I've been analyzing on my channel. From Joe Rogan to Morgan Freeman to Lady Gaga, they show these amazing examples on how to be more confident, more charismatic, and they speak with such authenticity. We can learn so much. Well, I've learned so much from watching those people. But the most beautiful, honest comments that I received was on my video of Melania Trump. I'll link to all of these videos right below and also at the end of this video so you can check it out afterwards. Now get ready for some brutally honest, let's just call it uncensored advice from Piers Morgan.
When friends or family members come to me, either they come to me with something where I think, yeah, they got a valid reason to feel this way, or sometimes you just got to go, get over it. And then they might laugh and have a drink and they get over it. I think. By the way, you're not allowed to say that anymore. There'll be people watching this, your younger audience, will be going, "Oh my God, did he just tell people to get over it? He's talking about people with mental illness." No, I'm not. No, I'm not. Be very careful that you listen to what I'm saying. I've decided that that's the way I deal with it. You may not like it, and maybe you like to deal with it by going, "Woe is me." And one of my favorite poems is I think it's D.H. Lawrence poem called About Self-Pity. It's only 3 or 4 lines. And it says, "A wild thing never feels sorry for itself. A bird will die frozen on a bough of a tree before it feels self-pity." It's something like that.
I'll get the usual flurry of death threats. I'll get the usual abuse and everything else. But I think it's a price worth paying to actually, what I think is rebuild an atmosphere in democratic countries of a genuine democracy. Places where this kind of vigorous open debate can take place. And at the end of it, actually, I can thank everybody and we can all go back to reasonably civil lives and not want to kill each other.
Yeah.
You might categorize my views as controversial. I don't. I genuinely think...
I just categorize some of your views as wrong. I don't think they're controversial.
Whoa.
In the same way that you said that I'm wrong.
Okay. Let's test that theory. Which of my views do you think are so wrong?
I would say...
Patrick, how long have we got?
How long have we got?
He's running down the clock. You see my point?
I'm not running down the clock.
Now you're struggling, right? Because you know I'm controversial, but you can't remember why.
I think the idea of supporting Trump, for a start...
I didn't support Trump. I said he'd win.
If he called you in the morning, would you take a job?
Well, hang on. You say, no, I wouldn't take a job. No, absolutely not. No, of course not. No, I'm a journalist. I don't take jobs with administrations in government.
Let me know in the comments what your uncensored opinions are. Just bring it on and type it out. And I'll see you in my next video.